Hey guys, I finally have the Nothing Phone 3 in my hand, but it's not exactly what I expected. Starting price of the phone in the UK is £799 and in India is about 80,000 rupees. And let's start with the build. On the back we've got Gorilla Glass Victus. It's not Gorilla Glass Victus 2, but still it's pretty good. And also that misalignment of those cameras, that phone looks more like a prototype rather than a finished product. At least you get IP68 rating for water and dust resistance, but still the phone looks odd. The frame is made of aluminium and that makes for a heftier weight. And we do get a triple mic on the top, and you got the volume buttons on the left hand side, the power button on the right, and underneath it is the essential key. On the front you do get a screen protector, which is great. However, on the front is protected by Gorilla Glass 7.9, which is a mid-range protection. It's found in phones much cheaper than this one, like Poco F7 and the Poco X7 Pro. Another thing that surprised me was what was inside the box when I opened it. It is a signature Nothing phone box, of course. It's large and thin. However, there is something inside of it that actually surprised me pleasantly. And no, I'm not talking about a charger. There's no charger in the box whatsoever. I'm talking about a case. Yay, it's got a free case, which is nice. Yeah, it's a cheap, transparent silicone case, but still, it's a freebie, so I'm gonna take it. After all, Nothing Phone 1 and 2 didn't have a case. The display is also a little bit short of my expectations, and let me tell you why. The screen is not bad by any means. It's a 6.67 inch 120Hz OLED screen. However, there is no variable refresh rate here, no LTPO technology. Also, it's got HDR10 Plus, but it doesn't have Dolby Vision, and many competitors actually do have Dolby Vision and also LTPO. On a more positive note, the phone does get bright enough and it's legible outside. For some reason, Nothing insists on having an HDR display button in the settings, but it just does it. Also, it's got an always on display, and the refresh rate is just static, really. It's 120Hz or 60Hz. In the dynamic mode, you can occasionally see 90Hz as well, but that's it. Here's the thing, the Nothing Phone 2 from 2 years ago had LTPO technology and a variable refresh rate, and that was way back in 2023. But the Nothing Phone 3 doesn't have it. The good news here is that Amazon Prime recognizes it as HDR10 Plus compliant, and YouTube recognizes it as HDR compliant, so you can watch relevant content in both apps. The colors are punchy, the HDR and contrast are good, and also the brightness is not bad at all, so it's unlikely that you will be disappointed. Software-wise, it's got the awesome Nothing OS on top of Android 15, and now you also get longer software and security support from Nothing. The phone runs on Android 15 out of the box. Too bad it's not Android 16, but it is what it is, and it's on the awesome Nothing OS. It's 3.5 version. And now you get 5 years of software updates and 7 years of security patches, which is fantastic. I also got a couple updates as I took it out of the box. For those of you who watch my channel regularly, you know that I like Nothing OS very much. It's very slick, very smooth, and it is bloatware free. It is one of my favorite software skins. Another pleasant surprise is that along with the stereo speakers, which are pretty good, you do get a Qualcomm aptX HD Bluetooth codec for high resolution audio through headphones and earbuds, along with spatial audio. You also get LDAC and LHDC 5.0. There is an eSIM support with dual SIM tray as well. The latest Bluetooth version 6.0 is on board, as well as Wi-Fi 7, which is great. The fingerprint sensor is optical, not ultrasonic, but still works pretty swiftly, pretty fast. The signature glyph interface of Nothing has been revamped and it looks quite different now. You can still customize it, but it shows up in the top right corner, as you can see, with the time, and then it is a beer bottle or something like that, and you can choose some other options for it. Whether you're a fan or not, it still looks funky. There is support for Ultra HDR in the Google Photos app. And you do get the regular unblur, blur, and AI eraser in the app too. There's an intelligence toolkit on board with the essential space, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on, and there are other options here to choose from as well. There's ChatGPT, but you need to install it from the Play Store, which is a bit baffling and annoying at the same time. Gemini is also available and it works fine. 2025 Euros final.
Today, the Spain women's national football team.
The Essential key is positioned right below the power button on the right hand side. So let's talk about the Essential space. You can put a note there and save it into the Essential space, or you can do a recording or a screenshot of any memory or anything like it, and it goes there. Gotta throw out the rubbish later. Throw out the rubbish later. Another surprise with this phone is in the performance section. It's got Qualcomm's 8S Gen 4, and that's not exactly a flagship chipset. The good news is it's based on a 4nm efficient processing. It's got the powerful Adreno 825 GPU. However, I found this one in much cheaper phones like the Poco F7, and it didn't behave well when it comes to throttling and stress. And the same thing happened with the Nothing Phone 3. It cannot really manage heat, it cannot handle stress, and the phone cannot complete the actual test, and then it has to shut down and it's very hot on the touch. The problem is with Qualcomm, the chipset producer, not the phone manufacturer. The raw power of this phone in Geekbench 6, as you can see, is pretty strong. However, it's a far cry from an actual flagship chipset. As you can see, the Dimensity 9400 and the best in the business, Snapdragon 8 Elite, are much stronger. Also, those flagship chipsets can handle heat and stress. It's not flagship performance, but it is absolutely fine for everyday use for most people. The battery has been boosted now to 5150 milliamp hours, and also the charging as well. Now it's 65 watts. I've got the global version with 5150 milliamp hours, but India gets a bigger battery of 5500 milliamp hours. There is no charger in the box, as you know, and there are some options in the battery app that help you, and you can also check the battery health and the cycle counts, how many times you've charged your phone, which is a welcome addition. Charging the phone from empty in 30 minutes, I got 61%, which is a very respectable result, and a full charge took 1 hour and 2 minutes, which is also respectable results, not breathtaking or any trend setting, it's just okay. And a reminder that fast charging does not damage the battery, it's just total BS. The Nothing Phone 3 also supports 15 watts wireless charging. Okay, all that doesn't sound bad, but what about the battery life? 1 hour of phone calls took the battery down by 3%, 1 hour of web browsing took it down by 8%, and 1 hour of watching videos took it down by 6%. Those are not bad results, but I did expect a little bit better, especially with the web browsing. Now let's wrap it up with the cameras. Another surprise here, the main sensor is an OmniVision one, and I expected to see a Samsung or Sony, but the other three sensors are all Samsung, which is absolutely fine, and they all shoot 4K up to 60 frames per second video. The selfies on the Nothing Phone 3 are very likable, the colors are great, the detail in the subject is very good, the contrast is also pretty good, the separation of the subject in portrait mode is also excellent, and the high dynamic range is good. I have absolutely no complaints with the daytime selfies on the Nothing Phone 3, they are one of the best I've seen this year. The triple camera on the back is overall solid. One thing that really sticks out is the inconsistency between the three cameras. That is quite noticeable in terms of colors, HDR, and also contrast. The main camera performs okay, the colors are nice and also the detail is good. However, there is some softness, especially if you pixel peeped a little bit and looked around, and some over sharpening in fine detail like grass, foliage, bushes, and so on. However, it's not too aggressive, so we can forgive it. In any case, those photos are not exactly flagship level. The shots from the ultra wide and from the telephoto cameras are also in the same vein as the main one. They are not bad, they are okay, just not flagship level. They're probably on a upper mid-range level. Night selfies are pretty much as good as the daytime selfies. The skin features and tones are coming very nicely and very well. The detail is absolutely fantastic for this type of photos, of course. And the colors and the high dynamic range are also pretty good. The separation again of the subject in portrait mode is excellent. To my surprise, the images from the main camera don't exhibit that much detail in them. There is again some softness in them, and also the high dynamic range could be better. There is also some noise that is more than it really should be. The 2x zoom shots are a little bit noisier and softer than the 3x shots. The 3x shots are pretty usable, they're cleaner, and also the detail is much better in it. The 6x digital zoom shots are also surprisingly clean and usable. There's almost no noise in them. The ultra-wide shots are also very decent and usable at night. They won't blow you away with high quality or superb colors and high dynamic range, but still they're very usable, and I believe you won't be that disappointed with them. Now moving on to the daytime and the nighttime video. The video stabilization on the ultra-wide and the main cameras in 4K 30 frames per second mode is actually quite good. I shot all this video in 4K 30 frames per second, by the way. And as mentioned, all cameras, the selfie and the free on the back, can shoot 4K up to 60 frames per second. The selfie video is actually quite good, as you can see. The colors are great, the detail is nice, the dynamic range is wide as well. The ultra wide video is decent. There's some noise here and there and over sharpening, but still very usable. The video from the main camera is excellent. The detail is very good, the colors and the dynamic range are excellent and very usable. The video from the telephoto lens is a little bit softer, but still quite usable and decent, and you can only shoot it in 3x zoom, by the way. The selfie video at night is again very good. As you can see, I don't have really major complaints here. It's handling the low light masterfully. The video from the ultra wide is better than expected. Again, a little bit noisier and softer, but I think those results are quite good and usable. You're going to see the footage from the 3x telephoto lens, and the video is very noisy and very soft. It probably can be used in well lit areas, but on the main is not that great. Again, just like during the day, you can use it in 3x digital zoom, but you cannot shoot video in 2x or 6x zoom.
There you have it, folks, the Nothing Phone 3. A surprising package overall. I probably had my expectations a little bit too high for it. It's not a bad phone, to be honest. It is actually quite good. It's just not great, and it's not flagship. Even if it is the Nothing's first flagship on paper, it's just a gimmick. I think it's a good package overall, and it's worth of your attention. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.